to start the show, let's start with our own AYV newspaper, which is President of Hungary congratulates President Bill on his re-election. Newly appointed State House Press Secretary Solomon Jamiru visits AYV, and Sierra Leone pilgrims arrived this Sunday from 2023 Hajj. We have Standard Times newspaper, which says retirement package awaits 680 teachers, 203 heads of school. West African Police Information System, Waterloo benefits. And Politico, rising child trafficking in Gambia. Governments to recruit 2,800 teachers. Liberia says no cattle disease. And Disabled wants Deputy Social Welfare Minister. And also for Reconciliation and Stability, SLPP, APC, big guns to meet. That is for the exclusive newspaper. For satellite newspaper, we have Speaker of Parliament appeals to APC. 203 heads of school to retire next month. Awareness Times newspaper says, as June 7th, interception of over 100 bullets, 3 pistols, assassination mask at Lunge Airport gets swept away from public view. HEBO regime quietly tried Melikubu, first couple mourn Haja Kaisamba. And we have A to Z newspaper, 10 million mini-grid solar panel agreement for Sierra Leone. We have NPPA launches third quarter 2023 public procurement price norm. And we have the Concord Times newspaper and WTO's Ojonko and others congratulate President Bill. Solomon Jamil urges the media to market Sierra Leone. And we'll have our next paper, the second to last, Independence Observer, post-election tension in Kono, High Court registrar convicted on corruption. And Global Times newspaper, the final paper, says President Bill to attend FAO summit in Rome. Dr. Chris Harden joins new cabinet. WTO DG congratulates President Bill. That's all. We'll start the conversation, but we'll have to make issues from these papers, not necessarily analyzing everything bit paper by paper. President Bill, congratulations. The congratulatory message for President Bill will target with this one from Concord Times and discuss. So the congratulatory message, we've seen President of Hungary and we've seen WTO boss congratulating President Bill. Let's start. We are now seeing the norm of congratulatory messages as a norm now in our society. And should we say it's now a standard to legitimize presidency, even though our constitution says when someone wins, he is legitimate? I will start with the social analyst, Mr. Pewa.
Thank you very much. Basically, it's not a new phenomenon. Of course, it is being practiced since the Pope was an altar boy. And what may have come from observers, both internally and internationally, it is a norm that when the president is elected, most times he or she receives congratulatory messages right across the globe. And this, like I said, is not a new phenomenon. Of course, you will agree with me that since the pronouncement of His Excellency's victory, and we saw him being sworn in office or taking office, oath to office. Of course, his counterparts, both in the sub-region, the wider Africa, and across the globe, meaning Asia, Europe, the very European Union that says the elections were not, they raised questions around the credibility of the elections. We saw their members, sending in congratulatory messages. So it is not a new thing. And like I said, it means that they recognize this, and at the same time, are of the opinion that indeed the president was elected freely, fairly, and in a transparent manner. So for us to see other European, member countries sending in congratulatory messages is not a new thing. But what is important, I think, at the global stage, we have made significant inroads. When you think of, like you alluded, the country at the moment is one of the 10 permanent members of the UN Security Council. And then also the president himself has chaired so many, few events, co-chaired few events, like for instance, the one that surrounds the election, education. Of course, we saw where the UN SecGen, actually single-handedly picked His Excellency to co-chair, that particular conference. So it tells you that, we are recognized. We are recognized. Like I said, with all the brouhaha around these particular elections, I think the legitimacy you're talking about, or what the people are questioning, it is there already. So as a nation, I think what is more important for us now is how best we put the electioneering process we've been through all this while at our back, and then focus on what we call development, transformative agenda of the president and his government. When you look at his 5 big changes, wherein he spoke about the feed salon agenda, that he will prioritize feed salon or agriculture. I think as a nation, because any nation that cannot feed itself adequately, any nation that goes to bed, its people goes to bed on a hungry tummy or empty tummy, it means that that nation is yet, to talk about development.
We'll jump on the big 5. Let me just bring in.
Just one second. I'm making a point. My point is this: sending in congratulatory messages to the president, it means that indeed he has been recognized, he has started work, and like I said, what is more important now is for us to actually embrace the 5 big changes, so that at the end of elections comes and go. That should not be, a kind of issue that will, pull us apart. Let us concentrate on development, because he is going to be there for just five years, and after the 5 years he exits. Thankfully, this is his last term. So for me and for many other Sierra Leoneans, elections and the results should not be something we should be crying over now. How best could we be able to galvanize the peace, the cohesion, everybody is yearning for, and the president himself. So for me, I think transformative agenda, how we should be able to feed ourselves, how best does the free education, how best does the free quality, education and that of the health, how best does the ordinary Sierra Leonean goes to bed on a full tummy, is what we should be working towards now. Elections come and go, and therefore it should not be a kind of issue that we will be laboring ourselves on.
I'll bring in Alusain. We've heard Pewa stating that it's a new normal. It's been happening. It's been happening, yes, but now it comes at a time when we are fighting the misinformation, disinformation, and many other challenges. Now, do we say these congratulatory messages are now justifications, are now ways to think that we are not an independent state?
Okay.
Because we see now some side of society are using it as a yardstick that because so and so person did not congratulate you, it means you are not legitimate. Which, of course, that is not even the case.
Okay. Thank you very much, and You know, I will start with your question, stating that whether or not, if we have, or if a president receives congratulatory messages, that he is legitimate or not legitimate.
I'm not saying if he is legitimate. Does that dictate how we run our state?
No, obviously, first, Sierra Leone is a sovereign state, and the law is there, clearly stating as to how someone will come to power, and it's through the ballot. We've conducted our elections, although we have issues, the opposition raising concerns, and other factions within the observer community also raising concerns. But that does not determine that we are not legitimate, or the mandate of the president is not legitimate. You see, legitimacy is not about receiving congratulations from everybody. It is about congratulatory messages coming are just a mere confidence booster, especially at a time when we have these issues in country. We have the opposition now boycotting governance and all of this. I think by these messages coming in, it will give confidence to the ordinary Sierra Leoneans. I'm not talking about the politicians. Because make no mistake, when you go out there, when you go to the streets, all people are saying the country is not stable, the country is not stable, because we've not had these big organizations or these big countries endorsing the elections. You know, it is actually, like my brother said, it's a new normal. That when once an election is conducted, you have leaders from various countries across the world sending congratulatory messages. And those messages normally or usually give confidence to the process itself. But that is not to say we don't have issues. For me, I think what is key right now is for us as Sierra Leoneans to actually dialogue, try to settle out our differences, rather than allowing external factors influencing our very peace. You know, the peace of this country is very important, and I think it is best that we dialogue, we settle our differences amicably.
So where do we move from here in terms of solution? How do we proffer solutions in terms of curbing some of this misinformation, this information that is making the public so jittery that if without congratulatory message, you don't think your country is peaceful?
It is not about...
That is the sad reality. You see, this is where we call on politicians to be sincere with themselves. The very people that voted you are being deprived of the rights being given to you from them, have been deprived in terms of agitating their views and aspirations towards the governance, within the governance architecture. So if Daniel Espewa voted Mr. Rollins, and at the end of the day, I'm expecting you to go and represent me, to give me a quality representation, and you are now boycotting the governance, you are indirectly silencing my right to be heard and to be seen. What is important at this moment, like your question, dictates. I would say, let the politicians begin to exhibit sincerity. Party loyalty is one side of the coin, but loyalty to the people and the nation itself is what is most, primordial. It is imperative of every Sierra Leonean to be heard. All of us cannot go to parliament. All of us cannot go to State House at the same time. And that is why the Constitution gives us the rights, the civic rights, to vote our representatives, whom we trust with the responsibility of promoting our views, making laws on our behalf, signing treaties, but more importantly, oversight committee. A pundit will say, the most important function of parliament, one of the most important functions of parliament, is to do oversight. If we have an effective oversight committee in parliament that will checkmate the excesses of the executive and other MDAs, I tell you, my brother, we will not need even NPPA or anti-corruption. But because they renege in most times in their oversight functions, that is why we have pilfering of resources going into the wrong hands. So how best could we be able to galvanize, to canvas around politicians is when politicians are actually sincere with us. So it comes back to dialogue. But when you want to dialogue with somebody, that person should be ready to give you the audience. You can't, there's a saying that you can force the horse to the river, but you cannot force it to drink. So what is more important, if politicians really knows that they are fighting for us, they are there to promote our interests. What is most important now is for them to put all their indifferences, their disenchantments aside and seek the interest of the people. My grandpa in Kono is not interested as to who is in governance. The most thing is interested in how peaceful the country will be, how full his stomach will be when going to bed, how you'll be able to facilitate his movement from Kono to Freetown at an affordable price. These are all services. Health, we talk about health, we talk about education, we talk about water and sanitation. These are all issues that surround governance. And the people are voting in politicians or individuals to ensure that those services are delivered to their doorsteps. So politicians boycott in governance functions. It means that my right to your right has been stifled. So we are calling on politicians to be very sincere with themselves. Party politics, yes, it's party politics. But as a party, APC is a party or is a government in waiting. And therefore what goes around comes around. It happened some years back. The SLPP, did not boycott by abstaining themselves from going to parliament. They were there. So your presence alone gives me the confidence that you are there and you will ensure that my interests are sick and at the same time, my interest is protected. So we are calling on politicians to be sincere with themselves. If they know we have voted them and we want them to give us quality representation, I am calling on them. Very respectable, individuals are in that party. So let them come in and actually, contribute in national development.
Sincerity is what he's focusing on as a solution.
It's very key. I'm glad that he mentioned sincerity. Quite recently, I was in a program and I did say that if we are to dialogue, if we are to get ourselves from this quagmire, we need to have sincerity from both ends.
Me, I am going to talk on the part of the government because they have the biggest responsibility to maintain the peace and quiet of this country. We cannot be calling for peace at the same time you are not genuine with, or you are not sincere with that call. Just, I think yesterday or so, but it's during this week, the speaker was in parliament lampooning the West. I think we should move away from this type of attitude. Like I said earlier, it is not by international community congratulating the government that determines the legitimacy of that government. Now we have a situation where the opposition has raised some serious concerns. I think what is best is that you, at the helm of power, should ensure that we navigate our way out of this with sincerity. You cannot be saying, let's come for peace, and then when one turns his back, you talk another thing, you say another thing. That will ignite. Let us all forget about these hate speeches. We go against because Mr. A is not in favor of what I say, then he's an enemy. No, we must not be seen as enemies. We must not see ourselves as enemies. We must see ourselves as Sierra Leoneans. I think it is normal that in every society you must have issues. In every gathering you must have misunderstandings. But what makes you stand out is how you handle your misunderstandings. So for me, I think sincerity is key in all of this. Let both sides exhibit sincerity so we can move away from this quagmire.
Okay. And then just an addendum, lest I forget. You see, also, we are talking about sovereignty, and there are institutions that are charged with the responsibility in ensuring that peace and quiet of the state exist. The police is one such institution. The judiciary is one such institution. The Electoral Commission is one of such institutions. And others. You, the pundits, call them EMBs, Elections Management Bodies. If we lose confidence in those bodies, it means that we are not even talking about sovereignty. So one of the conditions being put forward, or demands being put forward by the APC, is for the hierarchy of those institutions to resign, which for me, I see it to be very unreasonable. Secondly, if you are aggrieved, it is enshrined in the Constitution that the courts of law is the only arbiter to adjudicate or, dispense justice. So if somebody is saying that he doesn't have confidence in these institutions or those institutions, it means that we are doubting our sovereignty. So for me, it is very, very important that whosoever is dissatisfied with any form or in, the way the Electoral Commission conducted the elections and the outcome of that election, I think we start seeking redress from the courts. If the court fails, then we seek other avenue. But the international community should not be a conduit of seeking, justice. Let us try our own internal remedies. Failure to dispense justice fairly, then we can now go. I am a civil society activist. We had an issue with governments before now. We did not go to ECOWAS court. First thing we did was to go to court, the law court of Sierra Leone, because by constitution or by convention, that's how it should be. So we went to the court. If we are now dissatisfied with the outcome of the court's decision, then we seek other redress. But let us test. These are litmus tests we need to make so that at the end of the day, we know whether our institutions are really credible. But making those demands that all those people should resign their whatnot without you testing the court, I think it is unfair also. And all those social media rantings, you see, they are forgetting that. My grandpa will always say, don't burn your house because of one mosquito. It is the mosquito that you should be able to actually kill or you drive it away. But if you burn your house because of one mosquito, who loses? It is you. So we are calling on the APC, because tomorrow they will be in governance. If people out there are sending incendiaries, stage managing chaos, when they are in governance, the same thing will happen to them. So as a nation, as a fledgling democracy, I think we need peace. And peace starts with ourselves. Let us have an introspect of our actions, and then at the end of the day... I think
I will just allow Alusan to jump on this before we jump to the next issue.
My brother was talking about the lack of confidence. According to the main opposition, the lack of confidence in the judiciary, the Sierra Leone police, and the election management bodies. I think for so far, the opposition is in line with the Constitution because they've not done anything that is outside the Constitution. They have rights to not to participate in anything. Now, what we are saying is, I've kept on saying this in every opportunity, at every given opportunity. Firstly, we all have to be sincere. Whatever that is good for the goose must also be good for the gander. There are two sides to a coin in every situation. Now, we're talking about people inciting maybe the opposition, according to, if you speak to members of the ruling party, they will tell you you have people inciting the opposition, inciting people.
Social media.
Of course.
So
now, I'm coming.
No, it is there.
I'm coming, please. You had your time. Let me also have my time. Now, what I'm saying is, it is not peculiar to the opposition only. What I'm saying, there must be equitable
equitability in every
Finding the embers
situation.
of chaos.
Of course, if you have supporters of the ruling party that also sometimes, in fact, they use insulting languages against members of. Even the officials of the government.
About people
now,
who are in the diaspora and even within.
Here also you have
messages that are very inimical.
My brother, allow me please. What we are saying is, there must be equitability in trying to resolve whatever differences.
Provocative, statements. That one is, a normal. It's cut across.
No. What we are saying is,
you cannot. I will disagree with you, and our viewers and listeners will disagree with you.
That's what.
That you are now pinpointing that people are in governance that are inciting. Which
they also incite. It is not peculiar. I am telling you. There are so many videos. But there are so many. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let me give you several examples.
You don't need to go to Cambridge to know that.
No, I will give you several examples.
You cannot see the head of an institution and you want to ferment trouble in that institution.
You cannot say because
it also gives you the disadvantage not to rule. If
Alusine throws water is bad, and when Soyi throws it,
those incendiaries, until and unless those incendiaries, those inimical statements that are coming from the
my brother,
are curtailed or called.
It should be curtailed at all ends. It should not be focused on one.
Yeah, I agree
what I'm saying. No, but you are not agreeing.
No, I'm saying there must be equitability in every situation.
No, the equitability you're talking about, there must be equity because you are now. No, please, that's passion. Nobody in the SLPP government, knowing fully well that they are the ones ruling and they want to ferment chaos. It sounds erroneous. In fact, it's a non-starter. I cannot be a chief in this place and I want chaos in this place. I mean, you don't need to go to Harvard or Cambridge to know that. For me, if you accuse the SLPP of making provocative statements, I will agree with you. But on the notion that listen. But on the notion that they are fermenting chaos, this is African politics. I will tell you that, my brother, I have won. You lost. I told you, you will lose.
On the evils of one side.
SLPP is not a saint. As a party, they are not a saint.
According to you,
no, they cannot ferment chaos. That is my point. No, you need to understand my point.
Talking about equitability.
No, you need to understand my point. Until you understand my point, you will not be able to decipher what I'm saying. I am saying that SLPP as a party cannot be in governance and wants chaos. They will provide.
I will not to give you examples.
Chaos. That is my point. You need to understand that. It sounds erroneous. In fact, it is a non-starter for say. For you to say. No, it's for you to say that SLPP is fermenting chaos when they are in governance. No rightful thinker, reasonable thinker will even think of being in governance and want chaos in that system. I am saying to you, and let me make it clear again, that the SLPP supporters will provoke.
You will just jump in.
They will provoke. They will provoke. They will test the pulse, but they will not incite violence.
Okay, so you made your point. Let Alusine try to clearly.
I suppose he has gotten my point. Because he is trying to veer. He is trying to veer from what I said.
You have failed to understand what I was.
No, you did so. You did. I never did. No, I never.
I was making my point to interject.
Your point was.
I need to have the space also to make my own point.
All right, make your point.
So what I'm saying is.
Then don't misquote me, please.
I am not misquoting you. I am saying when we talk about peace. Firstly, when we talk about peace,
you start with yourself.
Justice. We must have an equitable society. Now, it is not uncommon for supporters of political parties to use words or to say statements that are not good. What we are saying is, if we condemn, let's say Mr. A for saying such words, we should also condemn Mr. B if he says that. So that way, I think we will make progress. Now we talk of the security sector. According to the APC, according to the main opposition, I think this is part of their grievances. For me, all of those grievances, they are documented, or there are evidences to that. What we need to do as a nation is we call for a genuine dialogue. It must not be saying, let us come for peace or let us go for peace, and then we begin to, when we turn our backs, we say otherwise. Let us focus our attention on peace. And our EMBs, our institutions, our national institutions that are supposed to be independent, they must be independent because they are not there to serve a particular set of people. They are there to serve everyone, and they should be as a mother of twins that allows each and everyone to have
The breast milk.
Yes. So this is what we are saying. I am not saying we don't have people
Yes,
inside.
specific. You are not being specific at all. Is that what you're saying? Are you agreeing now with Pewa that it should not be one-sided?
No, that is what I'm saying. I'm not saying that we don't have people fomenting trouble.
Who provoke?
Yes, you have.
Yes.
Them on both sides.
Yes.
You have them on both sides. So what I'm saying is, we should totally condemn any act of provocation or incitement. It doesn't matter where it comes from.
That is what he failed to understand.
Al-Hussein is trying to say if you have to tackle this type of provocative statement, it should be across the board.
That is my point as well. I did not vindicate
No, but you vindicated them. No, you vindicated them. You said they are not.
Listeners,
No, but you
vindicated
vindicated them. You said they are not.
Our Facebook.
What I'm saying is,
I said
whatever that is bad here,
as a party they are not saying.
so
But what we are
everything
saying,
we are saying,
the SLPP
cut
cannot ferment chaos. They cannot
and you
incite.
are saying that it is the APC that is fermenting chaos.
You're still missing the
No,
point.
but I am not
My
missing.
point has been this. My point has
What I'm saying is, in
the
every political
SLPP
party,
is full of decent individuals.
And the APC is full of
That
people
has,
who are
been
not
my premise,
decent.
that has been my premise since I started the conversation. But the point is, until and unless all those inimical, incendiary statements are called,
from both ends,
and
this is
also-
my point.
and also,
From both ends.
I did not say the SLPP is a saint.
No, but
They
you-
may provoke. Let me re-echo this again. Maybe you will decipher it better. They will provoke individuals that you have lost. We told you we will win. Now we have won. But they cannot say, hey, people come out, go and burn kekes, bikes, vehicles that plies the streets of Freetown or other urban centers. They will never say that. Because they are in governance. They know it is only when there is peace that they will be able to rule. But
The
let me read this
SLPP was in
Let
governance
me read this.
when the APC office in Bo was burnt down. The SLPP was in governance when you have people being chased out of the Southeast. So what I'm saying is, every
You're
act
still
of...
missing the point.
No, I'm not missing any
you-
point.
have you-
Everything
have
should be...
you-
We should be
have you
condemning
ever-
every act of...
I'm challenging you now. Bring me a video or a VN or audio, if you like, that will come or that has come from the SLPP blogger, supporter, whosoever is in SLPP, telling people, inciting people to go out and burn houses, vehicles, kill people.
So
That's-
let me bring this
SLPP,
statement.
bring me those
Now,
then I will agree with
during
you.
the campaigns,
I have barrage of
the first lady of this country told supporters in the Southeast that they should not even allow APC to exist in that part. Is that not inciting enough? You see, let us condemn those acts. It doesn't matter who perpetrated them. We should condemn them. I think we should be equitable in addressing. No, we should be equitable in addressing ills of society.
No, you're painting a picture.
No, I am not painting a picture. You said I should give you an example. I gave you an example.
No, I disagree.
No, I gave you an example now.
Let me read this comment and
That's not an
we'll
example
jump
I want.
to the next issue. Sir M. Gigba is saying, I think the only person that can solve this electoral issue right now is Mohamed Kone. Nobody else but him. Reasons being, he has the information about the election. So to prove the credibility, let him give us the election data so that peace can reign in Mama Saloon. Long live Mama Saloon, long live democracy. I think the interesting thing, we've seen data coming out with polling station, showing results of polling station. I don't know what other disaggregated data we're talking about here.
Well, the SLP, the APC and other international, observers are demanding results from each polling center.
And we've
station.
been seeing that going around.
Yes.
No,
You
For
understand?
each polling,
no, it has not.
polling station,
Each polling station.
center or station.
Center
have
station.
seen results.
Station has centers.
Demand of,
One station could have 2 to 3
It's on
centers.
ECSL websites.
Yes, I think
It's not there.
well, what I'm saying.
You're saying probably the information is not enough, but by polling station, ECSL already has that one.
So why the Buhara?
No,
If
I
those
don't
information
think
are
that
information
it
are
is
out,
there.
why the Buhara?
Because firstly, it is one of the major demand of the main.
I don't think it is out at the moment.
Is it
It
different?
is not out.
Is it? Is
I think
my point is
I agree with
what I
the
saw.
Uh-huh.
What I saw is it different from what the APC is demanding?
No, what you saw was prior to the elections, they demanded for, total registered, voters by centers or disaggregated, voters list. Yeah, that is what they demanded inter alia, and that one was published. I think it was published either in.
I think
Yeah.
two days to election.
No. On the 9th, no. It was Listen. You see, this is like I spoke about sincerity. It was published on the 9th of May. On the 9th,
Oh, really?
it is there.
So
When
So what was the reason that,
Richard Conte,
the
in fact,
APC
when
had
Richard Conte,
to stage a
because it was
protest?
Richard Conte that was
was it
representing
not part of
APC.
the APC stage a protest in June?
Sorry.
It was part of the reason that the APC staged a protest demanding that the ECSL
That
release.
is where I
So
spoke
it
about
is
the
not
sincerity.
on May.
Prior to
It
the
is not in
Ipto
May.
election, and Richard Conte came out that they have this data now.
Yes, that is close to election. I
Yes.
They had the
think
data.
2 or 3
They
days
are
to
giving
elections.
them, those
It's 2 or 3
information,
days to elections, my brother.
that data was even given to them before Richard Conte came with that statement that they have now given them. It was given to each and every political party.
We
Yeah.
know,
What
we
are saying-
know.
what we
They
are saying-
gave them the hard copies of this voter register, and later we also know that the ECSL said they made a mistake, so they had to replace that voter register.
That was all propaganda because
No,
it was
no, but the
it was
ECSL said
counteracted.
it. It is not. It was
counteracted.
no. The ECSL said it.
I followed the discourse.
They said it, my brother. They did say
Richard
it.
Conte came and
Look
said,
at these documents.
Richard Conte came and said, they have now given
sure.
us,
It
upon
is the voter
demand, they
count.
have now given us the data. And ECSL came out with another statement that the data this man is talking about now that we have given to them was the same data we gave them a few weeks ago before the elections.
Can you
Yes, I have seen.
Yes.
This is not the data they are asking for. Now, this is just voter count per polling center. Now, every center or every polling station has voters that voted, and every political party has.
Okay, so you want I mean, the data now they are asking for is, for example, how much did APC get in this polling station?
Yes,
And what did
Yes,
SLPP
because
get in this polling
because
This is
all
what they're
those
asking
numbers.
This is what they
All
are asking
polling
for.
stations
That is what they
had-
are, which to me is
all
a
polling
genuine
stations-
demand from the
all
APC.
polling
So
stations
you agree
had.
it's a genuine one?
It's a genuine demand. But for you to say that the heads of institutions, the heads of institutions should resign without you, testing them, like the judiciary. In fact, for the very first time, I had civil society commending the police. You and I would bash the police of being heavy-handed, of not dispensing justice. But for the very
And
first time,
it's clear.
both local
Issa,
and international.
There's a message for you
Yeah.
here, I think,
You know.
concerning the First Lady you said.
Yes.
Now, Issa Koroma is saying maybe the First Lady did not mean to attack them, but to tell them not to vote
not
for
to
them.
vote for them.
So this is what we ask. Now, let me tell you. If you just say, if I am an authority and I say, in fact, I don't even want you guys to allow.
Don't you think that is too extreme to even think that thing?
Yeah, but listen, statements
you're being
can be
unfair.
misinterpreted.
You're being unfair with
This is
the
what we are
first
saying.
lady
So
in the
if you are an authority, you must be careful of what you say.
No,
You must be careful
it
of what you
depends
say.
on your comprehension of our statement. For me and for the, for the
For
texter
me,
or for the
as an
Facebook
intellectual,
viewer,
I know that.
No,
listen.
you should
as
have
an
analyzed our
no,
statement.
no.
You
I
failed
am
to
not going
analyze.
to analyze that
You
statement.
failed
I
to
am
analyze
saying,
our statement because you look at our
firstly, you
statement
should
with
know
a
that
political
Sierra Leone,
lens or emotion.
most of no, I'm coming.
No, you should
know
look at
that
our statement with
listen, let me-
emotions.
Can I
It
have
is
my
unfair. No,
my
it is
please?
unfair for
Can
you
I
to
have
cast
my-
aspersions at
Mr.
her.
Powell,
I am not
let's
casting
hear it,
aspersion.
please.
What I'm saying is, if you're an authority, you have to be mindful of what you say, especially in the country where the majority of the populace are gullible.
In fact, they are illiterate, so they sometimes they don't normally understand
So-
what.
So, Alusan, do you think it's fair on you, for example, you making a point on TV now, and someone misunderstands it to be you being somewhere else or being
Yes.
somewhere? Do you think
Can
it's
that
fair?
person hold you
No, it's-
responsible?
Listen, everyone has his or her own right to interpretation.
Okay, that's
This
your
is what I'm
self-opinion.
saying.
That's
But
your
for
opinion.
me, as an authority, we must be mindful of what we say in public, because our supporters out there, they can be extreme. Sometimes they can be extreme. So it is not that she might have meant that they should attack.
So I'm saying now, you.
But because you
is-
have.
you is sounding it. Do you think it's fair?
No, I am not saying. Listen, I just my brother asked for an example,
Yes.
and I told him that statement
That
was
statement
not
anywhere inimical.
It was
that
not
statement was not
okay.
in any way inimical to
No,
the
it
peace and quiet of the
was
country.
because
For me to
No,
tell for me to tell my Southeasterners
made
that
the
don't vote for
statement.
SLPP.
No, but she did
Don't
not
vote
say
for SLPP.
vote. She
It is
said
not inimical. It
don't
is a campaign
allow
message.
these people
Don't
to
vote
even
for them.
exist here.
In as much as I can profile reasons why they
And
should
now,
not
what
allow
happens?
SLPP.
What followed up that? What happens after our statement? So we saw.
I am IFP. If I go to the Southeast and say don't vote for SLPP,
What happened
Is it
after
inimical?
that statement?
It is my
We
campaign
saw sporadic attacks on the main opposition. That could be linked to her statement. So this is why I'm saying, if you are a public,
it is
no,
the
if you are a
hierarchy.
public
I keep
figure,
on talking about
if you are a public
it is the
figure, we
hierarchy.
must be mindful of what we say
it is
to our supporters.
politicians.
Yes.
It is
We
our
must be mindful to what we say to our
I
supporters.
It is our
agree.
politicians.
My point here is,
Yes.
yes, you're saying public figures should be mindful of what they say in public. Now, you are a journalist. You're also a public figure. I'm saying
Yes.
here is, you making your point on TV or radio, and you say something, and that thing is being misinterpreted. Do you think it will be fair on you?
No, I will not say something that is insightful. That
You
might be
think- Are you
interpreted.
saying that word was insightful? In what way?
Fine, give me.
Thank you. Now, for the layman, if the first lady just said, don't even allow the APC to exist here. That is a vague statement.
What you're saying is quite different from that audio.
Which audio?
You see, JJ, let me
I'm coming.
bring this. Let me bring this. In fact, I can refer him to social media for him to go and see or listen. I saw a video coming from Port Loko. I can't remember the exact location. I saw a video wherein people were asked to come and take oath that if they see a ballot paper representing SLPP in that community, they will bring what they call quote and unquote bomb swear. And if that person, I'm coming.
It is
I'm coming.
it is
And if
bad.
person-
That one is
and
bad.
if
We
that
must
person
condemn
is
those
caught,
acts. This is
I
what
am
I'm
coming.
saying.
May I
It should not
may I
be
enjoy my
based.
God-given right to hear myself while talking?
No, but you have not been giving me that right.
That person will be punished from that community. Is it not a human right abuse?
It is bad.
I'm saying
It must be
it depends
condemned.
on where
This is
you
what
are.
I'm saying.
It depends on where we are.
You see,
Our politics has
every
become
act
so
of
toxic.
evil
Our
must
politics
be
has become so
condemned.
toxic that
Every act of evil must
so
be
toxic
condemned.
that
It doesn't matter
they
from
manipulate
who.
the minds of the
So,
gullible.
for me, that
I
act
spoke
you are
of-
referring
I
to
spoke of insincerity by our
was evil
Gitiana.
and it must be
Our
condemned.
politicians. Our
This is what I'm
politicians are
saying.
not
We should not
sincere.
just be condemning one
A
side.
figure
and then
going
we
to a
leave the
particular
others.
community, comparing that community, a small community, to a whole
And
district.
also, there was also a video.
These are all issues we need to bring
Let's
politicians to
just
task.
cool off this conversation with.
We need to bring
another
politicians to task for their statements.
Um,
But insightful messages. Because at the end of the day, it is not those who are inciting, those gullible supporters or
Alright.
grassroots supporters, if you like.
There's a
They are the ones, the grassroots supporters are the ones that becomes victims.
There is a
They are the ones that are behind bars
There is
for
a
riotous
concern-
conduct
there is
after
a-
being incited by those, they are paymasters. So
There's
what
a-
we are saying,
Mr. Pewa,
Yes, my lord.
there's a concern about the increase of child trafficking in Cambia. What do you think authorities should be doing or putting in place to actually curb this type of activities?
viewers will agree with me that it all boils down to poverty. Poverty is the major yardstick for such situations. We have not heard of child theft. It is child trafficking. You will go to my village, you appear very, decent, eloquent, and people perceive you to be a duty bearer or a wealthy man. And you come to my house and say, Mr. Pewa, I am in Freetown, or I am in this, job or in this country. I want your kids to come with me, to stay with me. I will take care of them. I will reduce the burden of health, feeding, accommodation, and every other child support from you, and I will shoulder that responsibility. And me being a very poor man with no, financial, capacity to support that of my child to attain education and to be well off, I will not give you that child, forgetting the fact that you have an ulterior motive for that child. So it all boils down to poverty. Of course, as recently as yesterday, we heard of a QNet. Is it QNet?
Yes.
People are paying money. They are, extorting money from people, individuals, unsuspecting individuals in the public. Yeah. Upon going to the Western world, because people are now of the opinion that it is only when you crosses the Atlantic Ocean that you'll be able to hit your fortune. So it all boils down to poverty and lack of awareness. So what would we do as civil society, as journalists, as duty bearers? Robust education. Thankfully, we now have the free quality education. So any child under the age of 18, we are expecting that child to receive free quality education. So the burden of you supporting your child educationally is no longer on your shoulder. So we are now calling on parents, guardians, and other members of the public to be aware of the fact that if somebody goes for your child, for him or her to come with that child for better life, you need to do a background check. You need to confide in authorities. It can be your traditional leaders, it can be your religious leaders, it can be the police, it can be, other duty bearers, to ensure that the safety and security of that child is secured. But if you just take that child, unilateral decision being made by you and the wife, without even bringing into the known of those duty or stakeholders, at the end of the day, you stand to lose. And we are also calling on members of the public who are perpetrating such heinous crimes or pain to unsuspecting members of the public, that their days are few. Whosoever is caught, I remember when I was traveling, we had an incident at Lunge International Airport where a man claimed to be a father of a lady that was almost 16 years. How can you have a daughter of that age without that daughter knowing you? He said he's taking that daughter to Kuwait or one of the Arab world, that the child is his own daughter. They interrogated the so-called daughter. Do you know this man? She was like, me, I not sabi am sad. So like I said, it is poverty. Because people tend to have children that they cannot support.
Yes. And so I think Pewa has
so it is very, very
obviously, I think I will agree with most of his points. One key issue is poverty. Had it not been poverty, we will not be having these issues. But also, I think education is key.
Awareness.
Yes, awareness raising. I think the authorities, or I would say even us as journalists, are also guilty of this. We've not been actually championing these issues. These are the burning issues civil society, journalists should be championing. I think we must raise the awareness to our gullible people out there. And also, I think we must see that we implement the laws. Sierra Leone has one of the best laws in every field, actually. But I think the implementation has been the biggest barrier to our problems. So I think we must begin to implement our laws robustly. That when one is being caught in trafficking children, I think the punishment will deter other. Like we have the issue of the rape. That was a good initiative by the president to declaring an emergency on rape. Although yes, we still have rape issues being reported everywhere, but I think actions is now being taken to nip them on the bud.
Okay, gentlemen, you know, it's like always, we have a lot of issues.
And I'm happy that,
I will just give you
I'm happy that we now have
your last bite.
Okay.
I think in that last bite you can make your point.
Yes,
Mr.
I'm
Pewa. I'll
happy
start with
that.
you. Let me start with Alusani.
Yes.
And then Pewa will.
I think I'm happy that we now have a new minister for labor and social security. I think what I am only calling for him to actually pay attention on this particular aspect of society, this child trafficking. I think this is very key. There must be that political will. There must be that political enthusiasm, like the one exhibited on the area of rape. So I think the government also must take this one seriously. Maybe declare an emergency for child trafficking.
Okay. We still have issues with rape and child molestation in the provinces.
Yes.
You have hard to reach areas where only motorbikes can, reach. And then we are talking about the political will. Let's say a child is sexually molested in Fadugu, and that child should come to the Makeni police station for statements. In fact, what is more painful, when you come, nobody will touch you. The first thing they will ask you is to go for medical, attention. Now, by the time you move from Fadugu to Makeni, from Makeni to the hospital, evidences that will actually incriminate the perpetrator scientifically are eroded. So we are calling on government also to set up infrastructure, DNA labs, where they can do forensic examination. Again, the laws are there, but how best are we ensuring that those laws bite the perpetrators? Because somebody will just take his phone and call somebody. And this is where, when we say police, 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 the police are under enormous pressure from politicians. I will tell you without fear or favor, the police are under enormous pressure on politicians. You will have a gentleman in his uniform discharging his functions as a police officer. He will arrest a motorist that contravenes traffic rule. He will arrest a criminal. And if that criminal calls a figure, that figure will now say, quote and unquote, get on the phone. And when that politician or public figure speaks to that police officer, what happens at the end of the day? The police officer is molested, is intimidated in the eyes of the criminal. Until we address those issues, the police will always be what they are today. So we are calling on you to be others. If you are going to set the rules, ensure that you follow the rules. Allow those institutions that are charged with the responsibilities to do their work. Failure to do that, it is the police and you, the politicians, that bear the greatest responsibility. Now, I am calling on the parents also. Poverty should not allow you to mortgage your children's rights at the end of the day, their security. Because at the end of the day, some of us are coming from very poor background. We sold all type of, wares on the street of Freetown. Yeah, we did not relent. Our mothers and dads did not send us to people that will punish us or that will, exploit us physically or mentally or otherwise. So what we are saying is, government has the responsibility, the police, the judiciary, whosoever comes, and the infrastructure should be there. Because, you see, our sisters are also being victims of circumstance. They suffer double jeopardy. When they are molested sexually, and when those issues go on social media, they start seeing bashing. And I wear dress. So it is making a lot of people not to come forward and make complaints in terms of child molestation, sexual abuse, and what have you. Some are suffering in silence, more especially so in the rural areas. So we are calling on duty bearers to be robust. Thankfully, the new social welfare minister designate, the new minister of labor designate, and every other duty bearer, they have a challenge, they have a responsibility.
So this is where we'll be bringing down the curtains for today's show. You have been watching Front Page here on AYV TV, channel 33, and on radio 101.7, and via our mobile app. Many thanks to our guests for gracing this occasion. We thank you very much for making time, for coming. We appreciate you always. My producer has been Mohamed Lamin Banya, and My producers have been Mohamed Amin Banya and Eddie Makonte, and the rest of the technical team. We say thank you. I am Joseph Jones, and many thanks for watching and listening.